Hey guys, back with another build video. This is the case I'm going to be using for the current build, and as you can see here, it's the Deepcool Matrexx 55, hope I pronounced that right. And this is brand new to PLE computers. They only started stocking this week. I think they got it in on Tuesday or Wednesday, they said, and today is Saturday, so we'll see how we go. Again, this is on the cheaper side. It was only $69, but tons of features, and I couldn't really find much again online. I'm starting to find with these cheaper cases that there's not really much information on them, but it's got some fairly good features. This is all tempered glass, and I think this is acrylic, and this strip down here, that's all RGB, and it has its own RGB onboard controller as well. So swinging around the side, there's a couple of specifications here. As you can see, it clearly talks about the RGB on there. Some specifications there on the motherboard, you know, ATX, micro, mini, stuff like that. It says that it's got 7 expansion slots. I'm not too sure where that'll all fit, but we'll soon find out. So it spins around. I haven't even opened it yet. So here's like a quick little diagram, and so I'm going to be putting 3 RGB 120s, and then I've got a H110i, and that's got 140, so that'll go on there. And yeah, so it'll suit me really well. I was going to go for a thermal take, but with the thermal take ones, some of them have a viewing port, so you can actually see the side of the PSU. I would really want to show this one off because it's a gold and it's pretty cool. Whereas the other thermal takes and stuff like just had a lot of them just cover up the PSU, which is not bad, but this one I actually wanted to show off. So hopefully we've got some a bit of room for cable management, but we'll have a look into it. Anyway, I'll open this up and we can have a look. Okay, here we are. It's out of its box completely now. Haven't taken out any of the screws. I've literally just taken it out of its box. And one thing I just did notice is immediately, as soon as I took it out of its box, a lot of the other cases that I've actually had, especially when it comes to acrylic, I have some sort of protective film on it. This does not. So yeah, if you get this case, be very careful when you're mucking around, because a lot of times you're going to pop them off, put them down, you don't have to worry about it or whatever. But yeah, this has got nothing on it. So, I mean, there's no scratches or anything at the moment, so I have to be super careful. But it says that it has 7 expansion ports. Now, I'm thinking that a lot of them will be behind here. Obviously, you can see 2 here straight away for your 3.5, but yeah. The only other problem I think that I may run into, I don't know if you remember my video, I don't know if I've put it up yet, but it's got to do with that MSI Cooler Master, the Masterbox 5 with the Dragon and stuff. And I had to make like a little panel to stop the light from coming out because it sort of took it away from the front of the fans as such. But have a look here. I mean, we've still got the usual 2.0. Why the hell are you guys even doing that anymore? But anyway, 3s, and here's our LED button as well, so that's pretty cool. We'll have a look what sort of control it is, and that's that little strip down the side. Now, no bulge or anything, so again, we'll see how we go. Obviously, that's where all these fins that pull the air through and such. We'll spin it around. I have to say that this isn't not heavy. It feels solid enough, but yeah, I mean, fairly, straightforward. It's nothing, it's no steel or anything, but anyway, looks cool. Look, I'll get the side of these screws, I'll get the screws off, and then we'll take this side off, and then we'll have a look what's inside properly, and we'll see what we're looking at as in the depth of cable management behind there. Okay, it's now completely, except for the back, in its skeleton form. I've already taken off the front panel, which just popped off really easy, and then I went to actually just put it on its face because I'm so used to having some sort of protective. So again, I can't stress that enough. Be really careful with this, because I mean, the last thing you want with a brand new case is to have scratches on your acrylic and stuff. So yeah, well, we can just flip this on its side, and there's our look at this. So there is our RGB controller just here. So that seems quite interesting. I thought it'd be a little bit more than that, but we'll see how we go with it. I don't know, I was expecting a little bit more, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, quite frankly, I've already grabbed, there's a couple of bits and pieces over there, but I've already got some another controller if this doesn't work, so we'll see how we go. Anyway, moving on. So here is, as I said, in all its glory as such. Looks like we've just got the normal sort of couple screws. They come out, hard drive goes on top. Not too sure, but I can sort of feel that if I wanted to, I could get an SSD. So it actually has room for the 3.5 and for the 2.5, so which is great. Yeah, I mean, I'm loving all of this. I mean, oh, sugar, I've already taken the screws off so we can have a look at the back. But if I look at that, that's a lot of room. That is awesome. I am absolutely loving this. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfect. Perfect, perfect. I'm actually really liking this so far. Excellent amount of cable management. I've got a full modular power supply going in this, so that's not really going to matter, but I want to keep this as clean as possible. So anyway, I'll take this side off and go around here. Let's pop this down. So yeah, so we can sort of see this in the light now, and yeah, amazing amount of like holes, cavities, or the whole thing is, and you put my fingers there, that's going to be amazing. That's going to be so cool. I mean, I'm running 1, 2, 3 120s. I'm running 1, 2, 140, or 2 140s, and then I'm running another 120 on the back. I'm not going to use anything at the top for the moment anyway. So that's 6, and then I've still got the strip on the front, which I guess would be counted as 7. So that's going to be a lot of cable management for RGB as well, and for fans too. So, but yeah, there you go. So I'm thinking that this is just magnetic. Yep. So I've found a few of these that are just magnetic and they just pop straight on. So yeah, I mean, I could have looks like I could have possibly gone for the liquid cooler on top, but I'm not going to. I'm actually going to put it there. So there you go. There's not really much more to say about it, but it's awesome. I'm really happy with that. What I'll do is that I'll grab all the parts, I'll put them out there in the sunlight so we can have a look at them, and show you what I've got going. Okay, everything's out. I don't know, we'll start from this side, I guess. So I'll start with the motherboard. So as you can see here, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm going for a Z270 Gaming K3 by Gigabyte. The unfortunate thing about this one is that there's no RGB header, but huge amount of features and stuff like that, so I'm still really happy with it. It has an LED backing to it, so that'll look pretty cool. Moving on, I'm going for this one just based on price. So this is an i5-6600k, so it's an unlocked one. Yeah, self-explanatory again. This is the RAM, 16 gigabytes, as you can see, pretty self-explanatory. A HyperX Fury. I think these ones are at 2666. I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. They may be 3000s. I'm not too sure. But anyway, I've gone for this just based on prices. 250 gigabyte. So the M2 goes directly onto the board. 1 terabyte with Western Digital. Now moving on to these. Now we'll go back to this just quickly. So this is the H110, and I went for this one because it was great on price. I found it's brand new, it's good on price, and when I started looking into it, I got it home and then went, oh crap. So these are 140s, and I can absorb these fans, which is fine, but I wanted to keep it RGB. So moving back to this one, so I've gone onto these just because they're RGB and they're 140. So this will keep my RGB theme going. Moving on, I've used these before in the past, and I just want to say that this part number here, if you Google it, it will not, well, I can't find it anywhere, it will not tell you whether this actually comes with a controller or not. The more expensive ones, I think they're like $69, whereas this is $39. They do say they come with a controller. So the difference is with the $69 ones is they're just a ring, whereas these are accentuated through the plastic on the side and then through the fan itself. So great on price, and I'm here to tell you that they do. I opened this up when I was at the store because I couldn't remember whether they did or not. and they do. It does come with a controller, as you can see there. It's a very, very simple little remote thing, but it works for me. So if I find that the controller on the actual the computer itself or the case is not working for me, then at least I've got that option there. This is the power supply. Now again, I searched and I found this for a fantastic price. It's brand new. I didn't really get the true story of what the guy was doing, but this was still in its cellophane. I started, sorry guys, but sometimes I sort of get a little bit ahead of myself, a little bit excited. So I've already unwrapped all this, but yeah, amazing power supply. I've used FSP in the past and they've been great. So as you can see, it's a gold 80 plus, can't go wrong. Now this is the next one. So as you see, G1 Gaming, and this is the 1080 WindForce by Gigabyte. Now this, again, I did do a video recently of doing the general base model 1080 by Gigabyte, and that had nothing really special. It just had one fan that was at the back, and that was it. And I think that was like, that blew my budget, because it was like $798 or $789 or whatever. So this is fairly straightforward as well. It just has a Gigabyte, but that doesn't light up. That's just plastic there. And then, yeah, just a back plate on there as such. But yeah, so that's it. That's all my parts, and I'm pretty happy with this build. I think that it'll be a decent you know, gaming computer anyway, and we'll be able to do a heap of different things. And with its M2 and stuff like that, again, I'm trying to keep my price down. I could have gone for like an Evo 970 or something like that, but just price wise as such. And I still want to be able to give a good product to whoever buys it. This is just me. I bought that one time, I bought that a second time, and so on and so forth. So now today is the day that I put it all together, and yeah, we'll go from there. Okay, so I thought I'd throw this in because I do watch a few build videos from other different people on YouTube and stuff, just to give some pointers, or to get some pointers and see what else is happening out there and what else. Now, one of the things that a lot of people are actually reviewing at the moment, and I actually watched the original video, which was done by The Verge. Now, you guys have probably heard about this video, and I have to agree, it looks good, it's flashy, it's got some good animations and stuff, but it's a lot of rubbish, it really is. Now, I just wanted to show you, the guy goes, well, you're going to need this, you're going to need that. So he says you need like a Swiss Army knife or whatever. These are the actual things that I use like all the time for my builds. And as you can see here, just a normal screwdriver. These are bugger all at, like, you know, at Bunnings or your thrift store or whatever, next to nothing. And this actually has the magnetic head, which is really important. It really helps. If you drop a screw or whatever, you can just lightly touch it, pick it up, and whatnot else. I actually do have as well a stubby screwdriver. So sometimes getting into, you know, certain things where you've actually got to, it's just a bit too hard to get in there with that. So you can actually start to screw it up or start to get it into the hole with that one, and then do it up with this one. Next thing, obviously zip ties. Cable ties, they are not tweezers, so these are next to nothing. You know, just pick these up from Kmart, $6 or whatever. I don't use all of them. Usually I just use like the black ones as such, but they're good for me around the house and do other bits and pieces in the shed or whatever. This is another thing that I do, is just a little tiny torch. Sometimes especially when it's all dark, when you've got everything in there, this just helps to sort of see a little bit extra what you're actually doing. Again, I use the little hobby screwdrivers as well. These are so handy for so many different things. Again, these are magnetized as well, so if you need to get into a tight space or whatever, they're always quite good. And just snips. That's all they are, little tiny ones, just to obviously cut these and clean it all up and whatnot else. So yeah, bugger all that other crap that dude was going on about what you actually need. You do not. These are really simple. A screwdriver, you know, obviously cable ties to cable manage, and you know, snips, and you know, sometimes you probably don't even really need all this. This is just what I use, okay? So yeah, anyway, I know that dude gets a lot of crap, and I don't understand, because I mean, they're up to like 2.4 million subscribers, and you'd think that they would do a bit better. So I will endeavor to give you some tips while I'm going through this as well, and we'll go from there. Okay, so this is one of the tips I'll throw out there. So the way that I start off, I know in that video, the Verge, he just threw this in there and then without even putting on the fans first. I can't stress this enough. Positioning your radiator and then figuring out where it's going to go. So for me, it's going to go here. I always put on my fans straight away. So then I know, for example's sake, as you can see here, all fans have like where the cord comes down. Sometimes you might have to actually have them going that way or whatever, just for ease of wherever the direction of the actual fans are actually coming out. And so I've just been looking at this, and this is one problem I've already found. Now, as much as that this has got amazing cable management for all of this sort of stuff and a lot of depth behind it and stuff, there is no spot for the fans to actually come through here. So it doesn't really matter whether I put them going down or whether I put them coming to the side or anything, because there are no holes. Wow. So that's a bit of a disappointment. I mean, you know, sometimes you can sort of feed them through here, which is maybe what I'm going to be doing, but being RGB, they have these ones here. So I have to modify this, which is going to be fun. So now I have to figure out whereabouts that I'm actually going to do my feed hole. I can possibly use one of these because I'm not going to use any of these at all. I'm using an M2, so that's directly on the thing, and then I'm using a 3.5. So any one of these holes is great because this can already be a pilot hole, and then I'll have to drill it out enough for, obviously, you know, the RGB to actually go through, but that's what I'm actually going to do. I'm not going to run it to there because it's going to look rubbish. I'm going to try and get it as close as I can to down there, and then what I'll do is that I'll position them as they are, like going that way as such. I mean, aesthetically, you'd probably like to keep it like that, and I may still be able to do that, to be honest. There's a bit of room on that one, and then obviously they'll want to be there, so we're looking at around about probably that hole. So that's all I wanted to say. So put your fans onto your radiator first, and yeah, there you go. Okay, so we're all done with the front fans and everything. Every single one of them are all secure. We're all good with this, and you can't even see the incision that I actually made, but if we spin it around, you can actually see that I made a small cut here, and that brings all of them through, and you can't see it because of the radiator and the fans and stuff, so that's all good. And one thing's as well, like especially if you're going for these kind of setup, when you've got three 120s on the front or wherever, and whether it's reverse and you've got a different sort of thing, it can work in your favor because obviously the 140s are larger, so you can screw them in later. So obviously you have to do the 120s first and then do the bigger 140s last or second as such. So the one thing that I found that obviously with the cheaper case, they've riveted this caddy in there with a little bit more higher end, like Bitfinex or whatever. They give you the option to take this out, move it across or whatever, but this was very difficult. You can sort of see my hand is very red because I'm trying to get it in there. Usually you can sort of use these little plastic things that sort of press in there, and it's a sleeve, and then you press the lug into it, and then it spreads apart and holds it there. That was okay, but it had a lot of play and stuff, so you probably won't be able to see that. But I want to take precaution whenever I do builds. I want to make sure that everything is secure as. So that's the reason why I've done that. I've gone for the little bolt as such and just done them up, and yeah, so now these are all very, very secure. The one thing that you can never get over is putting it all together and then there's a rattle and you're like, really, where's it coming from? So it's best to find out any sort of, you know, everything is super secure and everything, and then you're doing it, you know, from the beginning, and then you don't have to rewind or go back and start pulling things apart to figure out where it actually is. So do it right the first time and then you're all good, okay? So now I'm about to put on the IO shield. I know on the Verge they called it a fucking brace or some shit, didn't they? Anyway, so I think the only thing you can really say about this, that always the audio and stuff like is always to the bottom, so you can't really get it wrong. It's just straight like that. And sometimes they can be a little bit sort of difficult to get in there, but yeah, don't bang it or anything, what they say. Just push it in there, you'll feel it click and all good, okay? Okay, I just thought I'd throw this in because these are all like the pack of like everything that came out of the little bag as such. So you've got a few different bits and pieces still for the motherboard. And then this is interesting because you don't usually get these with some of the other cases themselves, but you know, we've got a whole bunch of you know, just screws for your fans and stuff, and then you've got a whole nother bag you know, for miscellaneous, which is good. I mean, that's, you know, well thought of. Usually you only just get like your stuff for your motherboard, you know, and a couple of other little bits and pieces of screws, but not usually your fan screws. So that's good. That's good thinking. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I mean, there could have been like a hole as such for the length of the fans to go somewhere, but anyway, there you go. Just thought I'd throw that in. Okay, we are completely done. We are completely together. Couple little dramas along the way. Straight away, I don't know if I can sort of show you, but you can sort of see up here how there's the header for here. There's like a little, you know, sort of a motherboard sort of thing or whatever. And that little circuit board itself comes down to about here and goes all the way along. So when I first do this, you know, as you could see in the previous little video snippet, that I put the fans on first and then I work on from there. So in this case, I actually had this fan up here up a little bit, so all three of them were all up a little bit. And when I've put the front thing on, I actually didn't see it. So I've put it on, and then I've worked all the way through the inside. And when I've come around the front and actually visually inspected everything, this fan here was cut off about a third of it. And I was like, yeah, no. So difficult, because what I had to do is that I had to work backwards. So I had to take this front off, which was really hard, because when you've got it up here, you've already got the cables through, you've got them cable tied, so then they're quite taut, you know, they're there, and then when you try and take this back off, it was really difficult. You had to actually swivel it and whatnot else to be able to get to the screws to the radiator. Anyway, so I got it done. It was really difficult, but it's all good now. But apart from that, yeah, it's looks great. It's a pretty good case. I'm really impressed with it, actually. For the money, it's awesome. I don't know what, like I say, an mini ITX or M-ATX would actually look like in here. I think it'll look a little bit silly, but you know, this is a pretty much a full board, and it looks good because it fills it up. And you know, the GTX1080 looks great in it as well. There's loads of room. The air's going to go straight across it. Now, I apologize. I purchased this thinking that this was a full modular. It's not. Still a great power supply though. Gold, and you know, 650. It's going to be absolutely fine. That was probably me. That was my bad. But anyway, everything's all good, and there's loads and loads of room in the back to put everything, and there you go. So all I've got to do now is install Windows. I haven't even turned it on yet, so you guys will be the first to actually see me turn it on. And yeah, I don't think I'll put the window on yet. I always like to power everything up and make sure everything's okay before I start putting on the side and whatnot else. So anyway, I'll power it up. Okay, we're ready to turn it on now. Now I've had to draw the blinds and everything because it's a really super sunny day today. So here we go, I guess. Yay, we are good. Are we good? We are good. Wow, I like the LED at the back of the motherboard. That looks really cool. I was reading through the book as well for the actual motherboard, and it, you know, it does say that you can do a bunch of different features with you know, pulsating and going with music, or even going with your games as well. That'd be pretty cool, like with your like shooting or whatever, and it pulsates at the same time. But yeah, the RGB cables are always not really a nightmare, but they're not fun, put it that way. But we are good. This was a little bit different with this Matrexx 55. This was a little bit odd. I don't know if you remember in the last little snippet that I showed you, it had like a little circuit board as such, and there was like about 4 connections on it, but nothing that I could actually see, or in the actual book that came with this, suggested to me or told me what they were. like what they could actually be used for. They weren't the normal 4-pin. They actually had 5-pin. Yeah, so I don't know. And it looked like it had like a little bit of a clip on it. So you'd press it in, you'd hear the clip on the actual little circuit board. So anyway, it doesn't really matter. It seems like a waste of cables, but I was able to just use, it actually suggests that you just pull apart this other cable and it has a main little tag on it. And that's what I just did. I just treated it just like a normal, you know, an extra RGB as such. So we are good. We are absolutely good. I mean, the only thing is that these Cooler Masters are actually a tad brighter than the other ones, but there you go. So we are completely done. So I'm in retrospect, this is a great case. I'm really happy for it, except for me doing the little incision to make sure I could actually get the cables through there, which you can't even see at all. You can't see it, so it looks great. It's really awesome for cable management. There's a lot of depth at the back of it for hiding cables and everything. Even though with not actually having the PSU cover or whatever going along, you don't need it. I mean, you can kind of see a couple little cables here and there, but it's great for hiding cables. And as you can see, this is non-modular, and there's no bulge, there's no nothing on the side of it. It's seriously, there's roughly around, it comes to about there, so there's a lot of room to flatten the cables out and hide them as such. But anyway, I love this case and I'll probably go back to it. I don't know if I'll go for the 3 again, but it does look cool. It really does look cool, and so for the price, it's fantastic. So well done, Deepcool. I nearly said Cooler Master then, but but yeah, Deepcool for sure. Thanks guys.